Hello, and welcome to Storytime with Mark DeMayo. I'm very excited to tell you the story tonight. As most of you know, I was a New York City police officer for 20 years. I was a detective for 13 of those years. And the coolest place I ever worked was the Warrant Squad. This is our patch. If you notice, the officer in uniform there has the bad guy by the collar, and he's dragging him back to court. And that's what we did in the Warrant Squad. In New York City, if you fail to, what happens is if you get arrested and you're lucky enough to be released at some point, the judge is going to issue you a future court date. And if you fail to return on that court date, that same judge will issue a warrant for your arrest. And our job working in the Warrant Squad was to find you and to collect you and to return you to court. And it was the most fun that I ever had on the job. It was the most dangerous part of the job, but it was the most fun. The reason why I've chosen this backdrop today is because the person that we were looking for on this particular day was a male white in his early 40s, and he lived in Jamaica, Queens. And this street right here kind of sort of looks like the average street in Jamaica, Queens. We started pretty early in the morning. We'd start probably like 5 o'clock in the morning working. So I don't recall exactly what time we showed up in the front of this person's house, but it was probably like 6:30 in the morning. This is not the house that we went to, but it kind of sort of looks a lot like the house we went to. So we pull up there, we come up with a attack plan, which was, there's 4 officers now, 3 officers, 1 sergeant. And 3 of us were going to go up. We were going to go in the house. And one of us was going to stay outside just to make sure that the person that we were looking for, wanted on the warrant, wasn't going to try to jump out of the window and escape. When we pulled up in front of this house, I quickly took into account there was something odd about it because they had like kind of sort of yard sale going on. And it was a Saturday or Sunday, you could understand, but we were off on Saturday and Sunday. This was usually probably like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And the yard sale that we saw there wasn't as pretty as this one. There was just basically like a lot of junk on this person's lawn. It looked kind of odd. I just know, I remember thinking to myself, if I was this person's neighbor, I would be annoyed that they have all this trash on their lawn. And it also, I started thinking to myself, this guy's probably crazy. Because if he's doing this kind of lawn, I don't know. It was just the first thing that struck me as, I don't know, this is odd. And we knock on the door. We're greeted at the door by an older woman, a very nice woman, and she's there. It so happens to be her sister. We introduce ourselves. We're police. We have a warrant. We show them the warrant. They look at the picture on the warrant, and she invites us in. Now, here's the thing. Most people, I would imagine, think that when you show up at somebody's residence, the police show up at your residence, and they're going to take your loved one to court, that there might be some resistance or that there's going to be a lot of resistance. I mean, no, you're not taking, a loved one away to court or prison or, there's going to be a fight. Obviously, right? Okay. That never happened at all. I'll be honest with you. I went on 1,000 warrant hits, 99.9% of the time. The people that, you go to their house, if they happen to live with somebody who has a warrant for that arrest, that somebody probably is always in trouble with the police. Okay, this isn't an isolated incident. They're not shocked or surprised. They're actually very happy that you've arrived, that you've come there. They actually want you to take their loved one out of the house so they can have some peace, even if it's for a day, a couple of days, a month. Please take them. And that's exactly what these ladies did. When I showed these ladies the warrant, the picture of the guy that I was looking for, they both put their hands together and they started praying to God like nuns. Please take him out of here, please. And she took me over to the side. and she showed me the stairway, the stairwell that leads up to the second floor, and she was pointing to me and telling me that his room is on the right and that he's sleeping in that room first. As soon as you get to the top of the landing, he's sleeping, and she's whispering that to me. So I said, okay. And then me and my sergeant, my other partner, we went upstairs. We got to the top of the landing. We looked in that first room on the right. It was pitch black. So we decided before we were going to go in there, we're going to light it up with the flashlights, just a little bit to take a look. This was the second thing that came to my attention really quick, by the way, because I noticed that there was a bureau there, and on top of that bureau, there was a lot of toys, and then there was a bookshelf there with toys on it too, and these toys were like G.I. Joes, and there was like some Barbies there, and it quickly came into my mind, like, this is probably the room that this guy's been in his whole life. Like these are his toys when he was kids, and when he was a kid, and the thing was, the G.I. Joes, they didn't have any clothes on it. Like, he wasn't in his uniform or anything like that. And the Barbies, they didn't have, they didn't have the prom dress on. They were kind of sort of like, all the Barbies and the Ken dolls were like in intimate positions, kind of sort of like this. So we, at this point right now, we decide we're ready to go into the room. And we go into the room and we announce ourselves. And we were going to be loud and first thing we notice is the guy's sleeping in his bed. And he's sleeping in his bed naked, and which is always like awkward. Like, listen, let me tell you something. The most awkward job, the job that nobody wants to handle as a cop, is having to deal with a naked man. Okay, you see how many videos have you seen, or accounts of gunshots, fires going off, pow, 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 and what do the cops do? They're running in the direction of the gunshots. While everybody's running the other way, the cops are running towards the gunshots. Same cops, man. It's just a naked guy running down the street, all crazy, but he's naked. He's running around. Those same cops they're all disappearing. Nobody wants nothing to do with that guy. So that was the third thing. Man, this guy's naked, man. So we're talking to him. We're trying to wake him up out of this dead sleep that he's in. And while we're like, hey, buddy, wake up. You got to go back to court. The cop that I was with, the other cop, he notices that there's a gun on top of this. The guy slept in a bed that was surrounded by like a frame. And on top of that frame, right by his head, there was a cubby hole. And on top of that cubby hole was a gun. And it looked just like this. It was a German Ruger, turned out. My partner yells out, gun! And he reaches across all of us. The two of us, my sergeant and I, we pounce on top of this naked guy now in bed. And my other partner reaches out and he grabs that gun, that German Luger, which turned out to be just a relic. It turned out to be inoperable. We found out later from the lab. But in the meantime, it was just a gun in the dark. So we got that out of the way. Now we're on top of this guy, and we're going to cuff him right now, because who knows what else is in this room. This is his environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have other dangerous weapons in here, and just for safety reasons, we're going to get him out of here naked. So as we're trying to cuff him, my hands and everything is just sliding across his body, because he's got like this. The room smelled. I should have mentioned that earlier. The room smelled. It smelled like a gym, like a boxing gym. It smelled dirty. It smelled damp. It just smelled. It smelled rotten. And this guy was real dirty. I don't know, like he hadn't taken a bath in months. I don't know how long you don't have to take a bath for before you start getting this film. Like, he had a film on his skin, like a dirty, oily, like film, like grease. Like, we was just sliding on him. It looked exactly like this guy. You see the way that guy's got that dirt, that film on his skin? That's exactly what his whole naked body was covered with that. And as we were sliding around with him and trying to like cuff him and stuff like that, like you could just see like the grease marks, like just from the whole thing is gross, from my hands going on him. We finally got him cuffed. Like I mentioned earlier, we decided we were going to get him out of this room, because this is his comfort zone right now, and there could be other weapons there. So we pick him up. We're going to dress him right there in the hallway. But before we could send the other officer in to start looking out looking around for a sweatshirt or maybe some sweatpants to put on him. The guy's wiggling away and he's trying to fight us. All right, you know what? Forget it. Let's just take him like this because it's going to be a big fight right now. So the lead guy, he's taking him by the cuffs. The guy's kind of sort of on his belly. I got a leg. My sergeant's got a leg. And now we're going to take him down the stairs. And like I said, the guy's wiggling around. He's dirty. He's greasy. He's oily. And right before we get to the steps, he does this wiggle thing and he slides out of our grips. And then he just starts going down the stairs head first, rear cuffed on his belly. Boom, 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 boom. And his mother never closed the door to the house. Oh, the only door that was open. The door that was still there was the screen door. So he slides with his dirty, oily body, rear cuffed on his belly. Woo! Once he hits the bottom of the stairs, and then head first he hits the screen door, and he just goes out the screen door. And then he's like, I guess I would imagine I didn't see that part, but he was midair for a second until he got to the stairs right there. His concrete stairs look something like that, like a stoop. And then he started going down that head first, rear cuff, naked. And all you heard was, ooh, ah, 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 ah. And we had the cop that was outside watching the windows just in case this guy we were looking for on a warrant decided to try and escape. Our naked man, our dirty, oily guy slides headfirst right into him, and he's moaning and he's groaning, and the guy who was outside, he's like looking like, what happened? Like, he slipped out of our hands. We're coming down the stairs, and then we had to stand him up, and then this is not us, by the way, but it kind of sort of looks exactly like what happened on that given day. Somebody had to go ask his mom to bring down some clothes for him so we can get him dressed to take him to court. And that was just another day in the warrant squad. And on that day, we had to deal with the D.O.G, the dirty, oily guy. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Storytime with Mark DeMayo. Thank you.